After breaking her spine about 25 years ago, Mrs. Jean Neal spent about 4 years of her life here in this hospital. During that 4-year stay, she had to undergo at least 10 operations. In 73, the first laminectomy was performed to remove a prolapsed disc. In 75, a second laminectomy. In 81, a further reoccurrence of pain. In September of the same year, Mrs. Neal had a terrible car accident, putting her head through a windscreen. All these medical difficulties left Mrs. Neal with one leg 2 inches shorter than the other and a hip that was out of joint.
I've had 3 heart attacks, angina, bronchitis.
The worst medical affliction, however, was yet to come. In 1986, an accident happened that was to confine Mrs. Neal to a wheelchair almost permanently.
Bent down to pick one of the grandchildren up because my daughter was in bed ill at the time, and my back went again.
Jean Neal's faith in God and the prayers of her and many others did not go unheard. On March the 12th, 1988, the National Youth Rally of the Assemblies of God was held in the giant auditorium of the Birmingham National Exhibition Centre. In the rally's final service, West German evangelist Reinhard Bonke was ministering. Jean Neal was sitting in her wheelchair off to one side of the auditorium. When time came for prayer for the sick, it happened just as in Jean Neal's dream. Reinhard Bonke first prayed for this lady, who finally got up hesitantly from her wheelchair and walked. He then literally ran to where Jean Neal was sitting in her wheelchair. After laying hands and praying for her, he told her to get up and walk.
She can now run, she can now bend, she can do everything in Jesus' name. Can you give us a small demonstration? What of? Well, have a little run here. Have a little run. Amen! Praise be to God. God bless you. I bless you in the mighty name of Jesus.
We asked Dr. West if there was a medical explanation for what had happened to Mrs. Neal.
As far as a medical explanation is concerned, I suppose there must have been a severe and chronic muscle spasm, perhaps with nerve root irritation, which was not responsive to any of the treatments we'd tried in terms of the tablets I described, muscle relaxants, physiotherapy and so on. And how it came about that this chap, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, was able to pick her out of the audience and sort of succeed where we had failed will remain a mystery to me.
Gone for Jean is the screaming agony when getting into a car. Jean is now able to garden, bending over without hindrance. She has also been able to mix mortar for a church building project. Jean's story was picked up by local and national newspapers, and none of them were able to find any flaw in her healing. The medical world had no explanation and were dumbfounded by what had happened. When we covered the story, the miracle was 7 months old, and even the skeptics were beginning to acknowledge the healing.